Zun spread his arms wide, his entire body bursting with blazing red flames. The fiery blaze wrapped around him, lifting his whole body soaring high. His blood-red eyes flashed a brutal gleam as he tilted his head back and laughed loudly, his voice booming like thunder as he shouted down to Jiang Xuanji. Sandao Elite, the whole army, deploy. At once, a massive warship thundered into view from afar, its deck packed with tens of thousands of soldiers. Waves of overwhelming momentum surged forth. The entire army simultaneously drew their weapons, swarming out like a swarm of bees bursting from their hive, their shouts shaking the heavens and earth. Annihilate Xia. Sandao will prevail. Jiang Xuanji gripped his great axe tightly, his eyes like blades cutting straight toward the sky, his face stern as he ground out. As expected, you still have hidden tricks, but don't think you're the only ones who have prepared. He tilted his head to look at Fong Xiansheng and said resolutely, Fong Lao, I trouble you now. Fong Xiansheng smiled slightly, raising his scepter high, his figure hovering midair as he replied briskly, No problem, it's nothing. Moments later, his gaze turned solemn. His scepter flickered with a swirling red light. Then a decisive shout echoed, Deploy the teleportation formation. Immediately, the space ahead cracked open, revealing a blazing red gate. Rows upon rows of Xia warriors stepped out in thunderous formation, tens of thousands like a flood, shouting in unison, Welcome Shi Shinjun. Ji Hong stood frozen, eyes wide with terror, his voice trembling. Fong Lao, the legendary spatial mage from 600 years ago and Ren Huang's master, was actually still alive. Back when I was young and training in Digu, it was he who guarded the entrance. Before the words finished, the whole square erupted in waves of excitement. Everyone was shaken, watching the mighty army and the overwhelming aura pouring out from the gate, all shouting in unison. 200,000 troops, from Bangu City in Kunlun, crossing 100,000 miles to Tianyun Island. This is a feat absolutely impossible for those below the 9th turning. Standing beside him, Zhang Shun chewed on the hawthorn candy Xiao Jiu had given him, eyes half closed as he assessed Master Fong's strength. He inhaled deeply and thought to himself, I never expected that within Xia's Bangu City, there would be a 9th turning undefeated master concealed. Zun had believed everything was going smoothly, but unexpectedly, Master Fong suddenly obstructed him midway. His eyes glared fiercely, his look cruel as if he wanted to tear his opponent apart. A cold laugh echoed as he said, Old stubborn man, so you've revealed yourself. Good, that saves me the trouble of looking. Do you really think that with just a few 9th turning warriors, 200,000 June, and the Jiuzhang group, you can oppose me? Before he finished speaking, Master Fong calmly took a transparent blue sphere from his storage pouch. The pressure it emitted made heaven and earth feel suffocated. His gaze slightly narrowed, and his cold voice resonated. Young one, speaking too much is not a good habit. Spatial prison array, lock. As the chime rang out, the sphere immediately locked onto its target, instantly imprisoning the entire fleet along with tens of thousands of Zun's elite troops into a colossal cubic block, like a tightly trapped toy. On the deck, soldiers screamed in panic, desperately attacking from within. But each time a barrier layer was broken, another would immediately appear, endlessly continuing. The shouts surged loudly. Impossible to break through, this formation has hundreds of layers. Master Fong silently watched them struggle like trapped ants, a scornful smirk hiding in his smile. This formation of mine can never be broken as long as it relies on you all. Seeing his elite troops trapped like fish in a jar, Zun's blood boiled, his eyes blazing red as flames erupted from his fists. He charged forward. I will crush you first, stubborn old man. But Jiang Xuanji was already waiting. The great axe in his hand swung down, blocking the fiery blaze, his voice thundering, Zun, the one you must face is me. Zun roared, bloodshot eyes clenched teeth. Jiang Xuanji, you dare block me? 10 billion Jiuzhang plus the ancient beasts from Digu will soon flood Xia. In 3 months, the seal of the heavenly Tao's 10 transformations will break. When the powerful Digu forces arrive, how will you defend yourself? Jiang Xuanji's face was grave as his axe shattered the incoming fireball, his resolute voice shaking heaven and earth. Defend against it? I'll use my life to do so. Today, I kill you as a sacrifice. As soon as the words ended, he raised his battle axe high and shouted loudly, Bayou Bin Hin the... Instantly, the entire Xia army stepped forward in formation. The red glow from tens of thousands of troops merged into a sea of fire, then transformed into a thunderous roar that shook the heavens. Above, a pair of blood-red eyes opened, letting out a roar that pierced through the 9 layers of clouds. Yenzun snorted coldly, a sneer of contempt curling at the corner of his lips. Humph, the martial souls of 200,000 Shi Shinjun? Is that all? Jiang Xuanji stood proudly in the midst of the battlefield, his body surging with a dark red aura that filled the sky. In an instant, his muscles bulged, his figure transforming into a colossal statue like a titan, with the battle god domain fully unleashed. With stern eyes fixed intently on Yenzun, he gripped his battle axe tightly, shouting a cry that echoed through heaven and earth. Xia generals and soldiers, follow me, kill! The rallying cry thundered like lightning, igniting the spirits of the troops simultaneously. Feng Wuji, Su Qianqian, and countless soldiers roared back in response. Follow the martial god, kill! He swung his axe downward with the force of a collapsing mountain. Yenzun hastily raised a fire shield to resist. The impact hammered down heavily like the weight of the sky, causing him to grit his teeth, his eyes blazing with burning hatred. He bellowed, Jiang Xuanji, you are no different from Ren Huang of old. Those words only steeled Jiang Xuanji's resolve further. His next axe strike harnessed his full life force, and his commanding shout resounded powerfully. For harming the nation out of selfish desire, today I, on behalf of Xia, shall eradicate you. Yenzun sneered, his forehead suddenly brightening as mysterious patterns appeared. His body instantly enlarged, eyes blazing red like blood, his voice roaring and shaking heaven and earth. Do you think you alone can transform? If the tiger doesn't roar, the world will mistake it for a kitten. Divine mechanism activated. True spirit descends. The divine realm fully opens. While he was in the midst of his transformation, Jiang Xuanji seized the opportunity, swinging his battle axe with overwhelming momentum, shouting loudly, Divine Dragon Soul! A shadow of a dragon deity tore through the wind, charging forward. But Yenzun merely snorted coldly, eyes gleaming with contempt as he unleashed a torrent of boiling lava from his hand. A mere tiny dragon soul dares to wield an axe before me. The lava surge rushed forth, knocking Jiang Xuanji into the sea where waves roared fiercely. Yenzun chuckled scornfully, but his smile froze instantly as beneath his feet, the ocean surface suddenly surged upward into a massive water column. His eyes flickered with suspicion as he narrowed them. Humph! Immediately thereafter, Jiang Xuanji reappeared from within the water column, his form majestic and divine. Behind him, myriad divine weapons manifested, his gaze cold and ruthless like Natra descending to the mortal world, his voice echoing, Heavenly Hand War God. Yenzun burst into laughter upon seeing this, his voice filled with disdain. Heavenly Hand, is it? Just an illusionary number. You dare to rely on this childish trick to oppose me. Yenzun, Jiang Xuanji swung his battle axe with precision like lightning, each slash blazing fiercely with heavy oppressive force, striking directly at Yenzun as his roar echoed, Heavenly Domain Annihilation. Slash! Yenzun squinted, seeing that the old man stubbornly resisted, even transforming into 1,000 arms like the reincarnation of Neza. He burst out a contemptuous laugh, ridiculous like a grasshopper kicking a cart. Finishing his words, he concentrated his strength, his palm erupting with hellish lava fire, shouting loudly, Vo John Engip fire! In an instant, the two powerful elders clashed, the battle erupting and shaking the heavens and earth. Ji Lingxiu and Gu Kaitian immediately charged into the fight, while Ji Hongan shouted loudly, overpowering the sound of weapons, Youngsters, retreat, leave this to us. Yang Ming refused to listen and rushed straight in, and the elder Sandao also roared, Kill! Then charged forward. Ji Lingxiu swung his hand in a move called 10,000 Swords Piercing the Heart. Countless sword lights blazed across the sky, instantly piercing several enemies who screamed in agony. Gu Kaitian was like a lightning bolt. One sword stabbed straight through, blood spurting dark red. His voice was as cold as ice. Yang Ming, traitor, there's nowhere for you to escape. I said if I slash you, I will definitely slash you. On the other side, Ji Hongan unleashed a terrifying palm strike. Large stones fell like collapsing mountains, his cry shaking the heavens. Dadi Jinu, the elder Sandao hurriedly set up the heavenly steel formation to defend. Ji Hongan continued relentlessly. Each massive block crashed down like thunder, while he still had time to call out, Old Gu, once you're done, Come over and lend a hand. Make it quick. Kill fast. Gu Kai-tion had just finished off the previous enemy and immediately lifted his blade to step forward. His voice hoarse. Coming right up, Kai-tion blade. Jiang Shun sat watching from afar, his eyes shining with interest. Ko Keen then, our master. Handling these guys should be no problem, but Yen Zun, the martial god, might have a hard time holding on. Nearby, Xiaozhou calmly ate chips without bothering to look, mumbling while eating, Dad, don't worry, just eat enough to stay strong. When the little larvae come, Xiaozhou will eat them all up, even that old man lighting the fire. Jiang Xin glanced at him, half believing, half doubting. Hey, really? Are you sure you can swallow him? That old man's meat is as hard as stone and very tough. He reached out and gently stroked Xiaozhou's small head, half smiling, half sighing. This time, I'm afraid at least half of the Zhou Sijam will have to explode for us to hold out. Xiaozhou sluggishly shook his head repeatedly, eyes watering, voice sad. It was hard enough to raise the little ones. How could I force them to sacrifice themselves? Although that old man is stubborn, Xiaozhou isn't weak anymore. Speaking of which, his gaze hesitated briefly. Then he gently tilted his face, looking at Jiang Shun with affectionate longing. However, after eating him, Xiaozhou will have to sleep deeply for a long time and won't see Dad anymore. He softly uttered, "Aha," seeming to understand, eyes calm, then tenderly called out, "Xiaozhou, my child." The sound of wings beating rapidly echoed ever clearer. Xiaozhou suddenly looked up. "Shoo, Dad, the little ones have arrived." The sky darkened instantly as swarms of insects like black clouds blocked out the sky. Yen Zun frowned coldly. They've arrived. Meanwhile, Jiang Xuanji relaxed, his hand holding the axe dropping, exhaling a sigh of relief. Phew, finally they're here. Seizing the opportunity, Yen Zun immediately unleashed a killing strike, aiming to end everything in an instant. He shouted loudly, ordering the fire dragon to open its mouth and spew out a pillar of blazing flames. Jiang Xuanji, battle formation. Your war god realm is over. Die! Caught off guard by the sudden attack, Jiang Xuanji had no time to react. With a grunt, his entire body was struck and thrown back, blood spurting red against the sky. Ji Lingxiu, Gu Kai-tion, and Ji Hong-en rushed over immediately, alarmed as they called out, "Old Kwang, heavenly man Yugong Bai." But Yen Zun did not miss his chance. The molten palm in his hand erupted fiercely, sweeping straight toward them. "All of you, die here." Ji Lingxiu clutched Jiang Xuanji tightly as the scorching lava drew near with no way to evade. At this life-and-death moment, bam! Layers upon layers of insects descended. Tens of thousands of wings fluttered, forming a massive barrier that blocked the fiery blaze. Amidst the sea of insects darkening the sky, the small figure of Xiaozhou appeared, surrounded by countless larvae swirling incessantly. It curled its lips into an innocent yet eerie smile, saying, "Uncle Yen Zun, I'm here to eat you." With each word uttered, the space between its eyebrows flashed with eerie patterns, eyes half closed, lips slightly moving. Joyo Chushing, the sound of flapping wings thundered through heaven and earth, as tens of thousands of frenzied insects covered the sky, bringing with them a destructive aura that filled the world.